Well, well, well. It is Sunday night. It's about 70 degrees out. It's nighttime. And normally I would be trying to get some sleep because got to go to work in the morning. And I usually wake up like around 4 a.m. So um, I'm definitely going to be super tired tomorrow. But that's how things go. Somebody walking their dog. I mean, it's a fine time to do that. It's I guess most normal people go to bed at like 10. So someone, random person walking their dog, I guess is fine. But hello, everyone out there in internet land. Oh, there's a nice little cool breeze now. Feels nice. Uh, it's been it's been something these last several weeks, these last several months, this last year, this last couple years has been it's been something. It's been wild. It's been a roller coaster, but not fun. Can't I have the fun roller coaster? No, anyways. So, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with my channel, but I just uploaded the final episode of my 31 Nights of Halloween Horror series, All Hope is Lost. Took me way longer to finish that one than normally. Normally, I get it done in 31 nights. And in October. And this is the first time my last episode was in September. So almost a year later, I finally got that finished. And I'm sitting out here, my front yard, rocking on the rocking chair. Like I said before, I was trying to go to bed because I wake up early for work on Monday mornings. Usually wake up around 4 a.m., so it's definitely not going to get my 8 hours. But unfortunately, thoughts and whatnot. Plus, weekends always tough. I usually stay up later than I should. And so yeah, I end up I end up struggling a little bit. But you guys can't see the stars. I can see stars. They are nice. I figured maybe I'd do this for a while. Try to calm myself down. Try to calm my mind. Try to get myself relaxed and restful. So, of course, I should probably get to the venting, right? That's what people see in the title. That's what people want to hear. I don't know. But so I'm on the Facebook dating app because it's free. I'm and I'm cheap. Plus, I don't know. I have kind of this mental idea that if I'm paying for a dating app, it's like prostitution in some sort of way. I don't know. It's like paid escorts or something like that. I don't know. It's dumb. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. But anyways, and so far, all but one person who's liked my profile has been a scammer, uh, a grifter, someone trying to sell something, someone just basically not interested in me. So you know it's been kind of deflating. But there has been one person who wasn't, at least I guess I can assume they're not, who liked my profile, and I messaged them, and it's been several days. They haven't messaged back, so it's like, why'd you even like my profile if you're gonna just kind of ghost me there? So I don't know. I mean, maybe she's got like a million hits and she's going through them all. All I know is that it's just horribly deflating. Horribly deflating. And just on top of everything else that's been going on in my life. It's yeah. It's been tough. And I kind of feel I don't know, like I feel like I want to crash out. Like I want to just explode with all the feelings that I have. I just want to like just freaking scream and cry and yell and punch the ground and you know just like just release all this shit that has been building and festering within me for the past couple years. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Key the Metal Idol. It's a very, very good old school anime from like the 90s. That's how old school it is. Like 90s, right? I think, yeah. Um, though I think maybe I watched it in the 2000s. So late 90s, early 2000s, whatever. Anyways. It's about a girl who is a robot. Try to be as spoiler free as I can, but she's a robot. But she can become human if she makes, what was it, like 30,000 friends. And there's something to do with energy and people and stuff like that. And she's sensitive to energy from people and everything. And so she can. There are times in this series where she becomes human because there's a lot of energy and emotion, and she taps into it. And I'm being vague to try to be spoiler free, because I think, like, any of you who have a chance to watch it, you should watch it. It's really good. It's really good. It's dated, but it's really good, and I think people will appreciate it, and it's very well done. Anyways, so there's these moments where she hits that energy and she becomes human, and it's very, those are very emotional moments, and I feel like I've hit that a few times in the last couple of years where the energy was just too much, and I just, like, I cried out, I yelled out, I primal screamed. Um, but other than that, I've been doing my best to hold it all in, to keep it under wraps. But it's been Dimitri Akins, what are you doing, bro? I mean, I'm venting. That's what I'm doing. I'm venting about just there's just a huge emotional weight, and I think part of it is also has to do with the video that I just put out, the video that I just made. I made it today, honestly. I made that whole thing today, so I think that's also part of it. But Sachin Desi Fitness, you from, brother? I am from the great state of Michigan in the country of the United States of America. So it's like, what, 9:30 at night, 9:30 p.m. Um, otherwise known as 21:30, 21:30 military time. And I was trying to get some sleep, and I just couldn't. And so I decided to sit in my yard on my rocking chair here and just, I don't know, speak my mind to the internet and try to calm my restless soul. And I guess for context, the video that I put out was the final episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror. It's a series that I've done for the last 14 years. Um, and this, every year for the past 14 years, I had during the Halloween season, the month of October. This is how bad things have gotten. Um, I would make a video every night, upload it, and usually about horror movies and things of that nature. Um, celebrate the spooky season in America. And every year except last year, I was able to do it, to do it all, to do all 31 uh, videos on time, um, releasing them in October. That all changed last year. Last year in October, toward the end of October, I got uh, I got really ill. Oh, so it's on my neighbor's home. That's pretty good. Anyways, so uh, so yeah, toward the end of it last year, I got really sick. I ended up getting pneumonia, and I wasn't able to. That was weird. He's all right. Huh. Anyways, there's just some weird noises that were coming from my neighbor. Um, okay. Well, anyways, back to what I was talking about. Um, so I got sick and I wasn't able to finish it on time. Um, Having pneumonia, I missed like a week of work. I was not in like really good shape for a little bit, and I wasn't able to do videos. My voice was all kind of messed up, and I didn't have a lot of energy. And then after that, not long after that, my mother passed away, and that that really that really hit me hard, and so I really didn't really feel like making videos during that time, and so I sort of just put it off. I mean, I had was it 4 or 5 videos I needed to make to complete it, and it took me all the way till tonight to finish off that last batch. And the thing is, like, that's probably the end of that 14-year tradition, because I just don't know if I can do it again this year. I mean, obviously October is just a few weeks away, and I just don't know if I even have the heart anymore. Um, and it's been tough. But on top of all that, the love saga, or the lack of love saga, I should say. Um, the emotional roller coaster of thinking I might have found someone that I'm willing to spend maybe the rest of my life with, and thinking that they were into me, to them not wanting to be in a relationship, to me trying to deal with the emotional wreckage of that, to her being pissed off that, like, I used my platform to share poetry and feelings and emotions about everything, even though I never mentioned her by name. But and then, her, or we kind of reconcile, try to be friends. She understands my need to try to deal with my emotions, gives me permission to make videos. I make another video. She gets pissed off at that video. And then over the last year, pushed me away. And slowly but surely, just, well, maybe not even slowly, but just treat me like not even an acquaintance, just like I was a bother, because and it's upsetting. But I mean, I am foolish, though. I was foolish. I was from the beginning. I was foolish to think that, a woman like her would actually be interested in a guy like me. I was foolish in that route. And even though, she acted in ways that other women didn't act toward me, and she was, doing things that I thought, was a sign of interest, a sign that she liked me more than just, like, regular guys. And so I was foolish to think that. And then I was foolish enough to tell her my feelings. And I was foolish enough to believe that, she would have been receptive to that. And I was foolish to believe that her reaction to that left room, like, because she was like, I'm not looking for a relationship right now, and you're a really wonderful guy, and stuff like that. And, the heart is deceitful above all things. It is. And my heart held on to these slivers of hope, and then it deceived me. It deceived my mind. It said, no, there's hope, there's chance. You just need to wait her out. You just need to wait till she's ready for a relationship, And then it's like, and I was foolish to think that I could be friends with her, given how I felt. It's because there was a moment where, like, a switch turned on, and I was in love, like, completely and fully, like, and I wish I could find that switch again so I could turn it off, because God knows my life would be better if I could, but I can't, and so it sucks. But anyways, the problem is, it was foolish for me to think I could still be friends with her, given the way that I feel, because, we want two different things, and I'm wanting something that she's not willing to give me. And even though we might be okay for a while, eventually my feelings and my desire for more will be too much for me to deal with, will be too much for me to bear. And eventually it's going to become a problem. But, my heart was like, no, you got to believe that eventually, like, one day she's just going to open her eyes and she's going to see you for who you are, and see you as the guy that she wants to be with. And so, my heart fooling myself tricking me into belief. Because, like I said, the heart's deceitful. It wants what it wants, and it's going to scheme and trick you and manipulate you into courses of action that would um, that you would normally not do because you're clear-minded and rational. But the heart and the emotions, they pull you and they tug you and they make you do stupid things. And so we got to the point where when I talk to her, she barely looks at me, she barely responds to me. She acts as if she wants to get away. I mean, there's like situations where I would be talking to her and someone else would come up and join the conversation, and the minute that person comes in to join the conversation, she would just leave, and not like just leave like normally, like sometimes people will kind of give you a signal like, hey, I gotta go, I'm gonna go do something, or or bye, or hey, bye, and then just kind of walk away. Like she would just like with haste leave the situation, and it's happened multiple times. And when it happens, I feel bad. I feel bad because I feel like what am I? What am I to this person? Like, and the worst part is like I used to look forward to seeing her and talking to her, and trying to make and build a connection with this person. Uh, see her smile, to make her laugh. It would make my day better. It would fill me with energy. It would, and and now it's like I dread her presence, because now like my interactions just make me feel like a horrible human being, like I'm worthless scum, because she barely you know looks at me, she barely responds to me. It's like talking to a wall sometimes. And it's like, and so like the other day, like I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Why am I talking to this person? Why am I talking to this person who couldn't care less? You know, like she's just going through the motions. I mean, like honestly, I would wish she would just say, "Fuck off! I don't want to talk to you," instead of like this, like oh, I'm just put up with talking to you, but I really don't want to talk to you, and I really don't want to listen to you, but I'm gonna pretend that I do, to spare your feelings, and in a way. Have you actually tried talking to her about all this instead of saying it to us? Well, and see, there's the problem. Um, so she built a situation because we used to hang out, and we used to be able to go someplace and have a conversation, away from other people, away from prying eyes, away from. But she but she basically doesn't want to do any of that anymore. And she built a situation where, like, it's extremely difficult for me to talk about anything um, that deep and that serious, because we're in a public setting. Our interactions are in a public setting, so to speak. They're not private. They're exposed, and there's a lot of things going on, and it's hard to have like a deep, meaningful conversation And maybe I think sometimes that's maybe by choice. Like, that's her plan, is to avoid, she's very anti-confrontational. She does not like conflict, and she tries to avoid it, I think, quite a lot. And, well, that's not the right place to talk about it. You should be doing it in private where she can feel as comfortable as you do expressing yourself. Yeah, but and that's the thing is I've tried. I've made several attempts to say, hey, let's go here, let's go do this, let's, you know, I guess in the end, and the thing is, she shot me down every time, and I've been wanting to have this conversation for over a year. And every time I try to like set up a situation where we can have this conversation, she shoots it down. She anyways, how long have we all been together? I mean, technically, I don't think we even like. So before everything came to a head, we've talked to each other on and off for like a year or more. Though we got more, I don't know how you say, seriously talking to each other for 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 a few months, until I like asked her out, which she didn't think was. I guess she didn't consider me. It's complicated. I asked her to a movie, and then we had dinner a few times. All of that happened in the span of like 3 months, 3 or 4 months, whatever. And like, I fell hard and fast for her. Like, it was the weirdest fucking thing, too, because it was like, when I first asked her out, I thought it was super safe because I really didn't feel one way or another. Okay, I understand. Almost a year, yeah. Like, 17 years, nice. That's a long time. Um, but like, going back, like, when I first asked her out, I thought it was safe because I really didn't feel like, I didn't really feel attracted to her. Um, it was suggested that I ask her out by one of my friends because I was kind of actually crushing on another person, and she hated that person, or not really hated, but just didn't like that person and didn't think that person was right for me. And so she was like, trying to push me away from this other person. And for a while, like, I just, we, for a little bit there, we connected, and I kind of understood her, and but I didn't really have a spark. It wasn't until this one time when we spent the day together, and I think um, it was weird because, like, it was kind of, heading up to that, I was getting excited for it, you know, it was like kind of anticipating it, and I didn't really ever it's been a while since I've had that kind of excitement and anticipation for something like that. So that was kind of different and unique, that kind of energy. And then when it was happening, there was a point where, we were, I think, at a bookstore in the mall, like Barnes and Noble, and we were just looking through books and talking, and like I said before, it was like this switch. Someone else is walking by. Someone's walking by. The best thing you can do if you can't communicate with her and she can't communicate with you is go ahead and get out, especially before you put too much time in it. Communication is key to any relationships. Yeah, I completely understand that. Um, like, that's the thing. I actually composed a letter for her, and I gave it to her, explaining, my feelings and, my concerns with the way that I think that she was treating me. And she wrote a letter in response to it. And I'm not gonna be accusatory towards her like this. I wasn't really attracted to my partner when we first met, but after I got to know him, I feel for who he is as a person and not his looks. And now I wouldn't want to live a day without him in my life at all. It's very good. That's great. I'm happy for you. You've found someone, and I understand that feeling exactly. Like, just this feeling like you're so comfortable with some person and that you're at ease with them, and it's like, it's not even at that point, it's not even sexual. It's just like you just want to be with that person like forever. It's just like you just want to be, in the moment and have it last forever. Things like that. I mean, I understand that feeling. But I mean, going back to like her response to my letter, it felt like she started to read it and then got mad, didn't finish reading it, and then wrote a very scathing, very very accusatory, very blaming letter back to me. And, once again, I make all kinds of mistakes. And I think my mistake was, like, I should have immediately talked to her about this letter and went through all her points and point out all the times that she misinterpreted my actions, all the times that she assigned incorrect intentions or incorrect motivations to some of my actions. Pointed out all the times that she was assuming the wrong things. But I didn't want to get into a fight. And I didn't want to invalidate her feelings, because her feelings, regardless of whether they're based on, misinterpret mis you know misinterpretations, um, regardless if they're based on you know wrong assumptions and stuff. Her feelings are still valid. I mean, she is feeling those feelings, and who am I to challenge her on her feelings? I can only challenge her on the the actual facts of the matter. But the problem is, like, I was figuring, like, what's the point of doing that? Um, you know, um, Matters of the heart rarely deal with logic. But that's kind of the crazy thing for someone who says that they don't know how they feel about me. They definitely have some feelings about me, one way or the other, and it's just crazy, like how like skewed her perception of what I was doing and what I was talking about and what I was going through. Like, literally, if I could sum it up, it was everything I did was wrong and for the wrong reasons. And, you know, everything was just awful, and I am awful. And she's like, everything she did was completely justified and right and fair and honorable, and that, she was the one who was, you know, um, doing all the work. And I was just like gobsmacked, because it was like, what reality is this? Like literally, a lot of it was just like her projection onto me, like her insecurities and her feelings. She kind of accused me of doing things that she was actually doing. Sounds like she is leading you on for her benefit. You should really just go out and find someone who will communicate with you and actually listen to you and communicate back. That's what guilty people do. Well, but see, and there's the problem. Like, I found myself in a situation where I love her and I care for her. And for and once again, another mistake is I've been doing things in regards to her feelings and her comfort, um, at the expense of my own. Like, I mean, I guess I could have uncomfortable conversations in an inappropriate place and, put her to the test and, hold her feet to the fire. But I don't want to hurt her. And I don't want her to be uncomfortable. And I don't want to make the situation worse. And I don't want her to be sad. And I don't want her to be hurt. And so instead, I end up hurting myself by pretending everything's okay and just trying to maintain the status quo. And, trying to hold on to what little I have left. But so I came to a point where it's like I just have to like I have to get away and I have to stop talking to her and I have to stop putting myself in these positions to make me feel bad. And the result, at least in my mind, is that everything's more awkward now. And she seems to be upset or pissed off with me because I've taken this course of action. That I've just kind of pulled myself away. I mean, because, like, literally the last attempt at a conversation I had with her um, was literally she didn't even look at me and couldn't leave quick enough. And so I'm like, okay, she doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want me around, so I'm going to not be around and I'm not going to talk. And then it seems like she's pissed off because now I'm avoiding her. You can't stay in a relationship with someone that to make the other person happy and make yourself miserable. Please get out before you put too much time in on the wrong person. Yeah, I understand. And the problem is, once again, is I care about this person and I gotta stop caring about this person. And it's just hard because I'm too fucking nice sometimes. I mean, I hate to hear myself say that because it sounds so fucking conceited. Like, oh man, I'm super nice. I'm too nice. But maybe it fucking really is because it's like and part of my language, but there's a lot of emotion in this situation. But like in that letter that I wrote her, I went so far out of my way to try to be considerate and to try to, you know, um, try to, make sure that I wasn't hurting her feelings or, I was as like, there's criticism and then there's, and then there's, positive um, positivity. So there's some criticism, but some positivity, some criticism, some positivity. And then I ended the whole thing on like something really positive, really uplifting. Anyways, you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of someone else. I got to go. Nice talking with you. Yeah, it was nice talking to you too. I hope you have a good evening and wish you well and you know continue to love your partner and give them a big hug and kiss because you know you never know like how much time we have. So but maybe that's the problem is I considered her feelings too highly over mine, and I should have been more blunt and more direct. And I should have been, yeah. But once again, that's fear, fear, fear of all kinds of different things that leads the person to make the wrong actions or make them not even take action. So hugs. Yeah. Thanks for the hug. Anyways. So with all that happening recently, you know, along with just the sort of finality of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror and the weight of my mother's death and one of my good friends, their mother died recently, and other things happening in this world, it has been a very emotionally trying week for me, and it's been an emotionally trying year, maybe even 2 years. And then, of course, the whole Facebook dating fiasco. And then, just to, like, the cherry on top is to have someone who seemed legit, like my profile, where we were a match, and me, reaching out and trying to start a conversation, and then her just ghosting me. um, just like it just like I like what do I do? Like, it feels like my life has become a fucking disaster. Like, nothing's going right, nothing's working out, and yesterday, like, I snapped at my sister-in-law over some trivial bullshit, and I just I feel so bad about that. And you know Friday night, when the guys were over and we were playing cards, like, the hand didn't go my way, and I got so upset. And I've been finding myself being more upset, playing some Magic Arena, and, like, just, like, watching sports. I'm cracking. Like, I'm losing control, and I need to just figure out some way to just get it all out of me. You might think about reaching out to a therapist so that you can talk about your feelings and thoughts. I I don't trust therapists, and I don't trust therapy nowadays. Um, I like too many times I've seen people um, who talk about their therapy experience talk about how much therapy is just gaslighting yourself. Um, there's all this talk about, like, oh man, um, all your relationships and all your connections have to be fulfilling, and they all have to they all have to be positive, and they have to build you up, and they have to be affirming and things like that. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. That's not life. That's a bubble. That is a fucking bubble, man. If you don't have a fight with your friends once in a while, then then you guys aren't humans. Like, there's got to be times where your friends need to, like, say, hey, fuck you, man, you're out of line, and there's other times where you have to do that with your friends. And like, therapists talking about, like, your work has to be fulfilling. I'm like, bullshit. Your work doesn't have to be fulfilling. Your work is a means to an end. It's not there for you to feel um, complete and whole. It's there so that you have the ability to be able to live, so that you can then spend your time trying to make the connections with your friends and your family and other people to make your life fulfilling. Like, and that's why, you know, uh, rich, like inventive industrialist type people, um, who accomplish things, they are always going on to the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing, because they're trying to find fulfillment in the accomplishment. But the thing is, once you accomplish it, you have that brief moment of like, okay, I've accomplished something great, and then it's gone. It's like that moment's over, and now you're chasing that next feeling, because in the end, you can look at a wall full of prizes and first place achievements. Welcome to Russia. Oh, okay. Sure. Um, you can have all that stuff, you know, but that's all they are at that point, are memories of things that you have achieved, but you can't talk with them. You can't relate with them. You can't build a life with them. You can build an existence, sure. You can build the foundation for a life, but in the end, you know, you don't have meaning, because those accomplishments can eventually just be forgotten, taken away. But when you build relationships, when you build connections with people, and you have good friends and good relatives, and you make those bonds, you work on them, and you nurture them, you know, that's when you can find fulfillment. That's when you can find true meaning. It's not, making partner. I mean, it's great. It's great. Like, accomplishments are great. Don't get me wrong. Accomplishments are wonderful and fantastic. And you know, making a goal and reaching that goal is important, and it is great, and it builds self-esteem. But you know, a lot of it doesn't matter in the long run. And a lot of people who have a lot of accomplishments oftentimes still find themselves alone and unfulfilled and constantly lost and seeking that fulfillment. And so I think there's too much focus on self when you talk about therapy. You know, it's very self-centered. It's, put yourself above everyone else. And while it's important to place yourself in importance in your life, the problem is that you can go too far, and you can create a certain conceit where it's all about you, and everything has to revolve around you and your feelings and your well-being and your safety and your comfort. And once you start getting there, then you end up shutting everyone else out, because people are human and people are inconvenient and people will betray you, people will lie to you, people will rub you the wrong way, people will make you feel uncomfortable, people will do things that you don't want them to do. And if you just shut them out because of that, because they're not always affirming and they're not always, um, you know, putting you and your feelings, or giving them the weight that you think they deserve, it can lead to you being to basically alienating yourself and them. And then you end up in a situation where you're like, oh, why does nobody like me? Why can't I find any friends? Why can't, because it's like, it's because you don't want friends, you want servants, so to speak. You want people who are there to accommodate you, and not necessarily people who you can have connections with and interact with and like live and learn and lean on and be leaned on, and to challenge you and to move you. And I don't know, I just see, too much self-centeredness, in modern therapy, where it's like, you got to love yourself, right? And I'm like, yeah, but then you get to the point where people love themselves above everything else. And yes, I guess I understand. I don't love myself very much. And, people say, well, how can anyone love you if you don't love yourself? And I'm like, well, the thing is, they can love me because they see me from a different perspective than I see myself. They can love me because they can forgive my flaws where I might not be able to forgive my flaws. And the thing is that their love can help me to realize that my flaws aren't as bad as I make them out to be, but also that they're overcomable and that they're fixable, and that you're worth the effort to try to fix. Because the thing is, like, you can try to build yourself up to this point and try to love yourself as fully as you can, but if you still are alone and you still can't connect with other people, then what good was it? You can't, you know, this is like that stupid song, that fucking annoying song, but it's such the pathology of people today. I think is it Miley Cyrus, whatever. I think like the song is like, I can love me better than you can. And I'm like, no, you can't actually. You can't love you better than someone else can. Someone can definitely love you more and in deeper ways than you can ever love yourself. And that's the beauty of love. That's the beauty of connections. And that's the beauty of being with people. is that they can like you and interact with you and love you in ways that you couldn't even fathom, you loving yourself, you connecting with yourself, because they're seeing things that you don't see, because they're seeing things in a different prism and in a different perspective, and you can't, because you're in your perspective. They can find strengths in you that you didn't know you even had, because you never considered, you never explored that, you never even, you know, thought of it. So this, I mean, and but I get it, like I said, you do need to be able to respect yourself, and you do need to be able to love yourself in a certain way. And sure, like the song is probably about like a toxic relationship where the person isn't really loving her that much, and so I can get that sentiment. But it's just like this whole idea, like, you know you need to love yourself, and you need to love yourself so much, and you need to love yourself more than you could love anybody else. Like, that's ridiculous, and that's bullshit, and that's not going to get you um, anywhere except narcissistville. And you might you might end up in the same situation as if you went in like protect mode, where you end up alone either way. If you're too overprotective of yourself and you don't want to get hurt, and you just stay away from people and keep to yourself and don't try to make connections because you're afraid that those connections will end up hurting you and betraying you. It's almost like the same coin, just two different sides. You've got the one where you don't make connections because you're afraid of failure, you're afraid of the pain of betrayal, you're afraid of things not working out. And then you've got the other side where you love yourself so much that if they're not, you know if they're not serving that love, you're you're shunning them, and you're keeping them away because they're not good enough for you know they're not good enough for me, because if they can't even hit my levels of love for myself, then man, they are worthless. Because I think in the end, we all need someone to love us more than we love ourselves, if that makes sense. We 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 need someone outside of ourselves who's willing to love us more than we love ourselves. So if we love ourselves too much, holy cow, you're letting that bar go way too high, so to speak. Like, I guess everything, there's always a balance to everything. Yes, you can love someone too much. You can love yourself too much. You have to find that right balance. You have to find that right situation. Um, so when I say, you know, find someone who loves you more than you love yourself, it doesn't have to be like someone who loves you exponentially more, or to several magnitudes more. But anyways, I don't know. And also, I don't think, like, a good therapist doesn't have much repeat customers. I mean, they're almost incentivized not to fix your problems because if they did, they lost a customer. And the thing is, like, once again, it's also down to time and money. Like, a therapist would cost me a bunch of money, and I would have to set aside time for me to go see this person. And I work the wonderful Monday through Friday, um, business hours type of stuff. So unless there was a therapist who worked weekends, but then I value my weekends too because it's my time off. So I'd either have to find like a therapist that works like nights or weekends, and I'm sure that makes it more expensive. But also then I have to give that time. I have to give that time. And sure, some people might say that, like, that's an investment in yourself. That's an investment in your mental health. And I understand that, but I just I just don't see how it helps because I mean, I will when I was in grade school, the school had me see a therapist because um, I like to draw, and one of my drawings was kind of like dark. I think I drew a chart, a pie chart, and there was a large portion of that pie chart, and I said, "Oh, that's the percentage of people who hate me." Because I was a kid, I was a nerd, I was bullied, and I wasn't popular, and I didn't think I didn't think people really liked me all that much. And other kids, they got friends and they would hang out outside of school, invite people to their house, have sleepovers and stuff like that. And I didn't really do any of that because I really didn't have a good enough friend. I mean, I had one really good friend, and I spent time at their house once, and there were few interactions, but other than that, like just it was not something that. So, but because someone saw this, and told the teacher, and then they had me have like every I don't know if it was like every week or every 2 days or whatever, but whatever. I'd have to be pulled out of class for like a half hour or an hour and talk to some therapists. And it was absolutely worthless. It was a waste of my time. It was a waste of their time. And yeah, sure, you would say a school therapist is probably not like good or whatever, but even counselors in high school, and even like things I've read, I've like looked at a lot of like self-help books. I've looked at a lot of online therapy blogs and stuff like that because every time people like bring this stuff up, I look into it because it's like I should get some information. I should and sometimes I also, when things happen, I will go online to look for answers to some questions, get perspective, and it just seems like the general consensus, especially nowadays, is all this, um, gaslighting. Basically, you're trying to create a reality that doesn't exist. instead of like trying to get to the underlying problems. It's all about like, no, you don't have any problems. You're just, you're just not loving yourself as much. You don't have any problems. You're just not. You're surrounded by non uplifting, non affirming people. So you need to cut them out of your life and find a bunch of acolytes. It's like that's the sense of what I'm getting. And maybe it's an incorrect sense, and maybe it's wrong sense, but until they, cover that in my healthcare plan, I'm not going to lay down my money for something that I have very little faith in. And that's another thing is like, you probably need to like have faith in it. If you go into it thinking it's not going to work, it's probably not going to work. And I'm going to be going into it thinking it's not going to work. And maybe it's because it's like, how can, like, so if my big problem is self-confidence, how do you get self-confidence? You usually get self-confidence by having you do things and accomplishing things. But the thing is, you need self-confidence in the things that you were lacking self-confidence in. So for instance, like, I'm self-confident in certain aspects and completely not self-confident in other aspects. So when it comes to, women and relationships and attracting people and its social situations, I am not self-confident at all. I have no confidence in myself and my abilities. And that is because I have decades of experience with me not being good enough for X, Y, and Z social situation. So the only way to build confidence in that aspect is to actually be successful in X, Y, Z situations. So some therapist isn't going to be able to talk you into self-confidence. You need to just either find a way to get over it and become fearless, and or maybe even not care about the results. Because once again, let's go back to, the woman I fell for. I normally do not have the self-confidence to ask people out and to share my feelings with them. But I did with her because originally I didn't have any fear of failure because I didn't really feel one way or the other about her. And even then, even with that, it still was kind of a nervous and scary thing asking her out. Even when I had like, big deal if she says no, it doesn't matter. I'm not emotionally invested in this thing, you know. But that's the thing is like, is that what I gotta do? Do I have to just like ask out like random women who I have no emotional anything with? But see, the thing is like, I just can't do that because I where do I do that? Where can I just meet? I don't go to bars and I don't go to clubs, and honestly, I don't know if I want to go to a bar or a club to to do that. And that's why, I thought, the dating app's kind of perfect because we can start talking and there's nothing there. There's no real, emotional anything. And then, maybe if we kind of, think we've got some things in common, we can meet and, go from there and see what happens. It's stuff like that. Um, but the thing is, if I'm like immediately attracted to somebody, then there's weight. You just do it. Useful content for everyone. That's useful content. You just do it, man. How much did you have to pay Nike to be allowed to say that? Anyways. But see, then there's that situation also. It's like, I don't want to bother people. you know, I'm so damn respectful of other people. Like, if I see someone who's attractive, in a place, I'm not the kind of guy who just goes up and says, "Hey, what's up?" Like that. I'm like, no, they're doing their thing. I can't just go and interject myself into their life. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know, speaking of therapy, is that doing this, talking about this out in the open, as opposed to just, talking to a wall, talking to myself in my room. Even if no one hears me, even if there was like 0 viewers, it still feels like it's out there. It's out there in the universe. Like it is reached beyond my house. And ultimately it feels like I'm being heard. Because when I do it behind closed doors, and I do it in my room, it feels like it just stays there and it stays within me, and it doesn't give me that kind of release. It doesn't give me that. And maybe talking to a therapist is in some way just doing that, is you're getting that release. But the problem is you're paying for that, and then they're gonna like talk to you about it. And then they're gonna tell you why you're wrong to think this way or that way or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes I wonder if, because I know that she's watched some of my videos, and there's sometimes I wonder if she ever like notices I'm on a live stream and she just dips in now and then to look at it. And in a way, sometimes I want her to, so that I can get my message across to her. But the problem with that, of course, is that, unless she's watching the whole thing, she's only getting pieces and bits. Like, that's one of the things that upset me so much about, when I did those poetry videos and she got upset about them. She didn't watch like the whole thing. So she judged me and was upset with me because of only a piece of the puzzle. for only a fraction of what I've said. And I think that's very unfair, but I mean, life's unfair, so I shouldn't like be, but it's just like he feels kind of disrespectful too, but it's also like um, upsetting because she basically said I could do it and she was fine with it and she said she was not going to watch them. And what does she do? She lied and she betrayed me and she watched them and then she didn't watch the whole thing and then she did what she said she wasn't going to do and got upset and punished me. But I mean, I got to do what I got to do. And I have every right to talk about my feelings and my interactions. And like, doing this also, it's kind of better than doing it with friends because your friends are going to get sick of it after a while. So, oh God, he's going to talk about her again. Holy shit, man. Oh. So this, like, I don't know the if it's the same people who watch these live streams or not. These could be totally new people, totally not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. And so it's less of a burden. And if they don't like what I'm saying, they leave. They click off the video. They, go to the next one. So it's like it's safe in a way, but yes, this can also be used against me. Some potential suitor, she could watch, when she gets to know me and knows about my channel, she could watch all these live streams and go, oh my God, this guy, oh fuck. That's true. But then again, that's the thing. Like, if she's not willing to still like me, given this type of stuff and my feelings and whatnot, then, she was going to eventually find out about that stuff. So maybe it was better, whatever. But ultimately, when it comes to her, she's probably better off without me. She is. She's probably better off without me. She's probably better off with me not in her life. But I should, my goodness. Almost 11 p.m. Otherwise known as 2,300 hours. And I'm going to be waking up at like 4 in the morning. So, like, that's going to be 5 hours of sleep if I fall asleep right away. And I was hoping that this would sort of calm me down and ease my mind. And I'm not sure if it has, but it is a beautiful night. I see stars in the sky. I guess in the end, when it comes to her, I just need to figure out a way to stop hurting. And And I have to stop caring as much about her as I do. I have to stop worrying about whether she's okay or not. And I have to worry a little bit more about whether I'm okay. But I'm not okay. And I haven't been okay for a while. And that's a problem because nobody likes a broken man. Broken man is like a broken tool. It's useless. Useless. Can't do the job anymore, so why even have it around? I mean, it's the sad reality that men live in. A broken woman, she still has uses. Broken woman still can be loved. There are people who will still want a broken woman. But a broken man, it's very rare anyone wants one of those. It's because a man has to be relied on. A man has to be able to perform, to protect, to provide. And when a man's broken, all that stuff comes into question. So men hide their brokenness. Men hide their feelings. Men hide their pain. They suffer in silence. Because the world punishes them if they don't. I got punished. And I still am being punished. And I'd like to say I don't give a shit anymore, but I do. But maybe I'm now more like, what do I have to lose? So I guess I don't care enough to not. To not do it. To hide it. At least not on the internet. At least not in this type of situation. I mean, in real life, yes, I hide it. I hide it a lot. When I'm at work, it is hide, hide, hide. When I'm with my friends, it is hide, hide, hide. When I'm with my family, oh, it's definitely hide. Ugh, don't want them worrying about me. Shit. Anyways. See, that's one of the problems with being being a nerd growing up. not being popular, not being well liked. And being bullied, you tend to go into your shell and you tend to protect yourself. And then you fail to learn the valuable social skills that you're going to need later in life. And then you're going to find yourself in like situations like I find myself. And you're not going to know what to do. Because I don't know what to do. I don't want to talk to a person who doesn't want to talk to me. And I don't want to talk to someone who's like talking to a wall. And I don't want to talk to someone when talking to them makes me feel bad. But then on the other hand, I don't want to make them feel bad. And I don't want them to think I hate them or dislike them. So what do I do? Do I just... If talking to them makes them mad and not talking to them makes them mad, what do I do? Because it seems like they're just going to be mad either way. But maybe that makes it easy, because then if they're mad either way, it doesn't matter what you do, because they're going to be mad. So do the thing that's best for you and let them be mad. I guess that's the solution. You guys did it. You guys did it. Congratulations. You guys did it. You got me to the ethers. I should just do, if she's mad no matter what, I should just do whatever doesn't make me feel horrible. Problem is, everything makes me feel horrible, so it's like, shit. Talking to her makes me feel horrible. Not talking to her makes me feel horrible. I can't fucking escape. I can't fucking escape. My God, it's just the catch-22, the damned if you do, damned if you don't. Holy shit. Oh, life is horrible. Oh my God. Oh, what a pickle. And of course the problem also is that I miss the times where she made me feel wanted and liked and worth something, valued. I miss those times, and I miss the actual conversations, the back and forth, and the connections that we were making. And I miss making her smile and making her laugh and seeing that beautiful smile and getting filled with that energy. And I miss all that, and I want it back, but I guess, probably can never have it back. Probably can never have it back. It's like I have to forget all of that. Because it's never coming back. It's never coming back. She is never going to want to give you what you want. She's never going to love you. She's never going to want you. And that's fine. I just need to accept it and move on to the black emptiness that is my social life. It also sucks because I'm not getting any younger, and it feels like my window for this sort of thing is rapidly closing. And once again, the heart is deceitful above all things, and it wants to hold on to that hope. It wants to hold on to that sliver of a chance. It doesn't want to let go. It doesn't want to give up. Because the heart's foolish. The heart's emotional. And it's like you remember those emotions, you remember those good times, you remember those things. You remember the stuff that you fell in love with. I love that stuff. And you can still have it. You just have to do the right things. You have to be patient. And you have to wait it out. And you have to, make all the right moves. And then it will happen. Just do it. Just trust me. When in reality, no. Doesn't matter how long I wait. Doesn't matter how perfect I am. And do everything right. Some things are just not going to happen. Some things are just not meant to be. So yes, 11 o'clock. 2,300 hours. I think I do feel a little tired. I should probably end it. It's getting a little cooler. I do feel better in some ways. My problems aren't all resolved, but emotionally I'm more stable now. And I think I should try to get some sleep. Get like 4 hours of sleep or whatever, I'll make up for it eventually. Oh fuck, that's right. It's the week where I'm gonna be hanging out with my friend who works third shift, so I'm not gonna be making up any sleep on Friday night. Holy shit, no. But I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to go to bed early tomorrow. Try to gain as much back as I can on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night. We'll see. Anyways, thank you all for listening to me and my stupidity and my foolishness. It really does help a lot. I'm appreciative, and I'm appreciative of all the comments and all the suggestions. It means a lot to me to know that people I have no idea who they are have some empathy and care about this nobody who's sitting in his front yard, can't sleep, and has like a whole bunch of emotional baggage and weight on his heart and his shoulders. Thank you all. Thanks. And I hope you all have a good night and a good day, a good week, good month, a good year. Go hug your loved ones and tell them you love them. Kiss your lovers. Kiss your lovers. Maybe make some sweet, passionate love to them too, man. Because you never know. You never know. You never know when it will be too late to do so. So, be safe, everyone. Have a good one. And good night.